Every 4 years, passionate fans and host nations pour billions of dollars into a single, month-long global spectacle. Yet the organization running the tournament pays for almost none of the physical infrastructure, while projecting to walk away with $13 billion in revenue. We tune in for the passion, the rivalry, and the national pride. But beneath that emotion is a masterful financial machine. In this ecosystem, we are passive consumers. Analyzing these financial flows reveals the mechanics of business leverage, consumer psychology, and the capture of hidden economic opportunities. Tracing the path of this capital shows how both global brands and local entrepreneurs can navigate and capture value within the modern attention economy. This budget breaks down FIFA's 4-year cycle. Because most income lands in the final year, annual figures swing wildly. Look at the 2023 to 2026 scale, projecting a record $13 billion. The largest driver is television broadcasting rights, making up 45% of total revenue. That revenue is climbing rapidly. In 2006, TV rights brought in $1.3 billion, projected to hit $4.3 billion by 2026. Marketing rights follow the exact same trajectory. Over that identical span, corporate sponsorship jumped from $600 million to an estimated $2.8 billion. The World Cup's business model isn't growing incrementally. It's scaling through the successful conversion of global, emotional attention into guaranteed corporate capital. But generating that capital relies on a calculated hosting framework. The host nations take on the massive physical risks and direct costs, building the stadiums, organizing the security, and upgrading the public transport. Meanwhile, this legal framework dictates that the governing body centralizes and retains the high-margin commercial upside. They keep the money from the TV deals, the sponsorships, and the ticketing legally insulated from the host's delivery obligations. Inside that framework, consumer psychology takes over. Brands use national pride, scarcity, and fear of missing out to drive fans to spend heavily on merchandise. The final equation is heavily tilted. Host governments and local fans assume the financial risk and carry the physical costs, while the governing body walks away with legally protected, guaranteed profits. That protection extends far beyond stadium costs. Going into the 2026 World Cup, smaller nations like Haiti or Curaçao faced a massive problem. Without existing tax treaties, the IRS was poised to take up to 30% of their $12.5 million participation funds. To protect that capital, FIFA used its political leverage to engineer a solution, securing an undertaking that allows national associations to apply for a 501c3 charity-style tax exemption from the U.S. Treasury. But even that leverage has limits. While the federal hurdle was cleared, teams playing in host cities across the U.S. still have to navigate a fragmented, complex web of state and local tax liabilities. Securing the initial revenue is only half the battle. At the highest levels of global business, successfully negotiating the tax framework to protect your capital is just as vital to profitability. So where do those protected billions actually go? As a nonprofit organization, FIFA doesn't distribute this centralized wealth to private shareholders. Instead, they use programs like Forward 3.0. Over the current cycle, $2.25 billion is slated to be redistributed across 211 member associations to fund grassroots programs, women's leagues, and infrastructure in developing nations. It operates as a closed-loop system. The ruthless commercial extraction at the top effectively subsidizes the base-level survival of the sport around the globe. During tournament season, most people fall into a trap. They act purely as passive consumers, letting the emotional high of the games drain their wallets. But the lesson for individuals and small businesses is to shift from consumer to value creator. You don't need to compete directly with global corporate sponsors to benefit from the event. You can use the raw attention of the event to your own advantage. That means hosting local watch parties, creating tournament-themed content, or offering targeted services that capture the surrounding foot traffic. Control over the platform and the audience's focus grants total leverage, leaving those who act purely on impulse to carry the financial weight of the spectacle. When the next World Cup kicks off, ask yourself, are you just paying for the spectacle, or are you finding a way to profit from the attention?